Alright, let's do this again. So, that's really fucking loud. Or at least it says it is. I'm gonna take its word for it. Alright. Why are you so goddamn loud? No filter. No. I hate this shit. I fucking hate it. Alright. 32. I'm ancient. Not really. I'm making a fantasy RTS. So, what I'm aiming for, let's just put it out there. I'm aiming for a Stronghold Legends / Spellforce 3, where the gameplay is a lot cooler to actually watch animations and somewhat a Total War. You get the big monsters. I've created my own universe and story for about 2,000 years, which is still a decent amount of recorded history, but you know. I've started with one story, it went to another, and I've completed almost 2 long stories and a lot of short stories. And then there are a lot of stories I touched on just to get an idea of the history, characters, world, nations, and here we go. So this is a Shade Stalker. I might even rename it Bird Skull. They're supposed to pop out of the ground and be kind of a stealth thing, or at least when you first see them. Tree with the hair particle system and blender to, you know, put the image playing. And those are single planes. You probably noticed I didn't bend them much. These do have attacks and dodges. Pretty primitive system. It ended up being a little more complicated than I thought, but once you get it, then, you know. They're going to have a point where you can make your own custom groups out of each of them. So it can be 20, it can be 100. And then we'll be able to put them in formations, and it'll do it based on the size of that group, whatever the list is. And then, of course, you'll have the value. I can do AI evaluates. I can do a lot of things. And now I can do all the rigging. I can do even advanced rigging with IKFK, but they don't need that. It's too costly, and it's not necessary for an RTS. Spearman does have a twist bone in his wrist because, you know, I noticed that some models, so I guess it's a bit more about the efficiency, or not guess, but it's a conversation in itself. So, then you got bow, then I had the lizard I showed in the last. Let's just say I fucking hate this shit. I want the story to be meaningful, not just packed together. I want it to be a Dragon Age, which is why I always like to get alpha beta writer, reader feedback, and feedback from people I've known and trusted. Shoot. But, you know, then, and then animations for, he's dead, cool. But, anyways, long story short, I didn't save the changes, I just made this step, and, oh no, it's fine. Kinda. This one I need to fix. But, long story short, yep. I'm trying, one we haven't really, we had Age of Mythology retold. We haven't had anything that was particularly immersive while having the big battles, and they're usually preset animations. I want to give more control, and I want an experience that kind of emphasizes the importance of soldiers. They will have stamina, they will have experience, and they have new animations that also unlock new. So there's a dodge counter, double attack, and then they'll have abilities as they get higher. I don't want to say company here, but so if they're doing a dodge counter, right, in the time of the animation they're dodging, they have a check that'll be invincible to most things, except obviously if they get hit by some sort of force that, you know, a giant rock or a trip. Sir, I want it to feel realistic, I want it to look realistic, and I want the soldiers to feel like they're actually soldiers, and I want you to be able to carry them for mission. I want settlement building, kind of like Stronghold, but on a more global scale, meaning things will happen over time. I don't want small battles though, so I've been trying to make them as efficient in terms of triangles as possible with under 2,000 characters per unit, unless it's a hero like the sorceress I made or the knight I'm making. Then it'll probably be about, she's 4,800, he's probably going to be about, he's a little under 4,000, right? He'll probably be 4,000 or 5,000 in between triangles. It's not too bad for hero unit, or I don't want it to be a MOBA. Don't get confused, but I want that. I want the Dragon Age level of telling and choices in an RTS without compromising. Of course, I want these to complement the gameplay, not compromise it. Complement it. On a Homeworld 3, not a they will affect your changes in what units you get, what equipment you get, the stats, the population. They will affect your long-term play. And then I also want you to have a choice in characters you get to choose from eventually. That's right now, that is kind of beyond my scope. I can make I can make characters based on the few races. Well, realistically, like what you would have realistically for that crusade. Probably 2 races, then a bunch of classes. But in terms of the races and, other things that you might be able to do, I guess I don't want to give it away, and it wouldn't mean anything without knowing the rest of the story. Like, hey, you can change into this later. It's like, okay, what the fuck does that mean? So, I've done a lot of research, writing for horror, medieval history-related stories, medieval fiction, and then a lot of reading. A lot in the past, not as much in the past, like 6 months-ish, just because I've been all sorts of shit. There's one. Let's see, got the sorceress, got this, he's not a basilisk. I had a name for him. I didn't like it. I keep changing it, but I do have a mythos. He can, I don't know if mythos is the right word. Hunter in a deep, deep forest on the left side of the continent. The center is completely overrun, morphing, changing. It's called the Obsidian Forest, and, it's a lot larger. It's not, don't think like a blight or something. I hate, so anyway, long story short, it's not, things are coming out, then you got the Banished Witches, and then you got other things you won't have to worry about certain other things, because that starts with other stories that I started and did finish writing, but, yeah, I'll start trying to getting a prototype for the game is the priority, and making something fun. Like I said, I want it to feel like pikemen, infantry trying to attack pikemen will have to have a check before they can come. They're very likely to get through if they have a shield. If they don't, And then spearmen are very good. Pikemen are very good at keeping enemies back. But, of course, they're vulnerable to archers. Crossbowmen especially. Crossbowmen will be better at taking out knights or heavily armored units. Plate armor still do a lot of damage. For, certain types of units with mail armor, you can upgrade your units, you can equip them, outfit them, cost more, but, and then, like I said, experienced units will have access to better animations with more likelihood of not getting hit, dodging, and more stamina, and then more health. A little more health, a little bit more stamina in terms of, so the levels like ×2 for the level 1 multiplier, level 2 multipliers ×4, but it's ×2 for it's 8 plus stamina for a level up, and then 4 plus health. So you do get out of 40 health right now at the moment. So you do get some huge perks in having higher level characters, but like I said, I want to make the aggressive passive stances. I guess I did say that, yeah, for this one. More efficient. It'll also determine whether or not they're more likely to dodge or more defensive to enemy attacks versus, of course, more aggressive. And then, of course, if you have a more experienced unit, they do the dodge. They'll usually do an attack with a dodge. So if an enemy's attacking, it'll hit them. Then there'll be state check, like is dodging, is attacking. And then, of course, there's certain types of damage, like if a giant hits, I don't want, like, if a giant hits them, like in, say, Total War, right? They go flying, they get back up. Not going to happen. I do want huge boss fights in this with absolute insane creatures. So, besides this isn't supposed to be a huge boss fight, but I thought it was kind of cool. Anyways, but I have no texture for this, and I got to finish a lot of shit on this. And then I got a swordsman shield, I got spearmen, I got other weapons and stuff. And then I got houses and stuff that are finished. I have billets like tents for soldiers. I don't really have any textures for almost all of them. I just kind of put textures on them. But yeah, let me know how you feel about that. Peace.